Hey, what is up, spiritual hooligan? Are you feeling stuck, like you can't get things to move forward? Are you bumping into some kind of glass ceiling that feels like you can't get what you want out of life? Well, I'm going to walk you through a process to get you unstuck using enlightened perspectives as our toolbox. My name is Matthew Ferry, and I'm bringing you your daily enlightenment. It's your moment to pause, to slow down, to get connected to enlightened perspectives. I want to help you to quiet your mind and restore your peace. So let's start by taking a deep breath in through our nose together. Hold your breath. And I just want you to keep holding your breath. Close your eyes if it's appropriate. Keep them open if that's appropriate. But just keep taking long, slow, deep breaths and holding them with me. Now, this is going to be a little different than normal. We're going to do a little bit of a workshop here in this process, but let's start by repeating after me. Please set the intention for enlightened consciousness to flow through, to experience the purity of my own consciousness, to know that all is well, to embrace life, people, and circumstances exactly as they are. Please set the intention to release my need for things to be different, to practice total and complete acceptance of all people, in all situations, at all times, including myself. So let's take another deep breath in. Let's get connected with the idea that all is well. If you feel stuck, like things aren't moving forward, then you likely have an attachment that you aren't seeing. And let's do some work right now to release that attachment. I want to start by creating an awareness of the impact of attachment, and then we'll go into the actual process itself. So awareness is really the critical first step, because awareness makes you flexible, which reveals new options, and that gives you power. And that's the power to make changes. Now, the dictionary defines attachment a little differently than I do, but I want to start off with the dictionary definition of attachment, which is a feeling that binds you. A feeling that binds you to a person, a thing, a cause, an ideal, a future, a past. You feel bound. And that binding feeling is what causes you to get stuck. And you know that an attachment is present because it creates a little bit of anxiety. Or you feel stuck, or the drunk monkey in your head is forecasting negative futures, and it stops you from taking action. Or you start operating out of fear, and when you do that, it brings out the worst in you. Now, attachments also have a deeper negative effect, and a lot of times when you have an attachment, you can't think straight. Your view becomes skewed. You become upset. You lose your flexibility. Suddenly you're inflexible, your peace is gone, you're out of your flow, and you start pushing, you start forcing, you start using a negative energy to make things happen. And oftentimes that actually makes it worse, and you don't get stuff to happen. So let's look at my definition of attachment. I think it's a little more of a enlightened perspective on attachment, and that is that it's an exaggerated fear of losing an imaginary benefit. So there's some benefit that you imagine you're losing, and you get this exaggerated fear inside, and all of a sudden it's like, I need to grab that, I need to hold that, I need to make sure that that doesn't happen. It puts you into some kind of aggressive action or shutdown. So you want to think about falling in love, for example. You get into a relationship with a person, and a lot of times what happens in the relationship is over a period of time, the relationship itself gets more aggravating. And it gets aggravating because we get attached to how things were. So when you first get together, it's amazing, and there's just so much new energy, and you're coming together in a way that you're fulfilling all of each other's needs. It's just like that natural coming together, joyous energy. But then over time, your expectations start to get broken, and the brain starts to go, I'm not going to have that thing that I want, and I want that thing back, and I need you to change your behavior, and all of a sudden you have this fear, an exaggerated fear of losing a positive benefit, some imaginary benefit in the future. Now, there's some pretty normal survival consciousness things that we do to try and mitigate this, and I want to sort of look at it from an enlightened perspective. I want you to kind of say, okay, here we're going to get to an enlightened perspective, but let's look at this Let's look at the survival consciousness. So a lot of times what we do when we get attached is we just go, nah, whatever. We do like lack of interest, lack of enthusiasm, lack of concern, or we go into a state of apathy. It's like, nah, I don't care. When you're unattached, it's different, right? So we actually want to work getting to a place of being detached, which is different than apathy, okay? So when you're unattached, when you're detached, you still care, you still want the best for yourself and others, but you're no longer blinded by that fear or the losing of this exaggerated imaginary benefit. Whereas when you go into apathy, you're actually protecting yourself from some negative future that you think is going to happen because you can't get what you want, or you're trying to hold on to what you want and not let anybody change it, okay? So when you're unattached, you can also be completely committed. So I want to get to that because that's really what the real solution is. Apathy and lack of interest or anger or trying to force things or trying to make people do stuff, that's survival consciousness. What we want to get to is thriving consciousness or enlightened consciousness. And that solution is about being committed to something but unattached. And that's important because you actually have to figure out what you're committed to, and that's not easy to do. So you're committed and you're unattached. So I love the way that the Dalai Lama says it. He says, sometimes the wrong train takes you to the right station. And a lot of times when we're attached, we think that things have to be a certain way, or people have to behave a certain way, or the thing has to be like this, otherwise it's going to fail, and it's going to be bad, and I'm not going to like it. I'm going to lose this positive benefit, and I'm going to experience this negative benefit. And what we want to kind of get in the frame of mind of is that sometimes the wrong train takes us to the right station. We go to the right destination. What makes something right is you. And I love the way that Napoleon Hill said it. He said that there's a seed of equivalent benefit in every adversity. A seed of equivalent benefit in every adversity. So let's go into kind of a workshop mode now, okay? Let's examine what we get attached to. So first we're going to look at people, because we get attached to people's behaviors, right? We don't want them to change. We would be devastated if they left or if they died. You need them in your life, so you hold on to them, right? Mom, dad, siblings, spouse, children, coworkers, whatever. But then there's another part of attachment, and it's around your expectations for people. And so you want to think about who's bugging you lately. Because if they're bugging you, what's happening is you're resisting what's happening, and you have some attachment to the way it's supposed to be. Like, they're not doing it the way that I want, and it's supposed to be like this. And so the thing is that only agitates you. Then you want to think about who are those people in your life that you can't live without. That's an attachment. Who would you be devastated if they decided to do something different? That's an attachment. Now, when you're attached, your appreciation, your affinity, and your love become conditional. And so they're like, I like you as long as you follow my rules, right? I love you as long as you do it the way that I want you to. I want you to be happy as long as it doesn't conflict with my happiness. Those are all attachments. So what are you attached to? What drew you to this video? Why are you watching this? Can you think about some things that you're attached to? Maybe it's stuff, right? What stuff do you have that you're attached to lately? Or what have you been afraid of losing? Maybe you have an investment, or maybe you have a big chunk of money, or maybe you have a house, or right? And sometimes you get like, you get this fear of losing that thing. What if you spend a little too much time thinking about being afraid of potentially losing? What can you not live without? Work, money, status, success, body image, wardrobe, shopping. Those are all attachments, and I want to take you through a process of releasing it here in a moment. But you could also get attached to existing structures. This happens to a lot of people. That's the way we do it. We only do it this way. This is my way. We can't do it any other way. That's a structure, a process, a procedure. You get attached to that. How about thoughts or views or belief systems? So what's a point of view that you are secretly defending? What are you being right about? What are you focused on as like, well, that's just the way it is and it's supposed to be like that, right? Maybe it's charity. Maybe it's the way you contribute, or maybe it's how we're supposed to educate people, or the way you raise children, or what you're supposed to do as a husband, or what you're supposed to do as a wife, or maybe it's like you have these secret points of view that you're defending, like, I'll let you behave like that, but you're wrong, jerk. Those are attachments. Plus, we get attached to people suffering, and we have a desire for them to not suffer, which really creates a lot of agitation for us. So let's look at a 5-step process that I want you to go through to release your attachment. So I want you to just think of something that you have been attached to lately, and I want you to start by examining the benefit that you're afraid of losing. So you might pause the video here just for a moment and examine what is the benefit that you're afraid of losing, because an attachment is an exaggerated fear of losing an imaginary benefit. Then the next thing, step 2, is to identify what are you exaggerating here? So how is this an exaggeration? What is the exaggeration that you're making about the benefit? What's the exaggeration that you're making about the loss of it? So just be honest with yourself. How are you exaggerating this? Step 3 is to investigate how losing the benefit would actually affect you without the exaggeration. So if there's no exaggeration whatsoever, how would it actually affect you? And then step 4 is to make peace with the loss. And then finally, step 5 is to set a new intention for yourself. So once you get to a place where you have released this energy of attachment, the next thing you have to do is set an intention for yourself, and then you have to work to be committed to that intention, but not attached to the way it will go or the way it will work or how it will happen. You got to be this person who is focused on the outcome that you want, but you have to also be honest, you don't know how you're going to get there. And it's going to be some wiggly road that will create the outcome that you want. And you just have to be willing to flow with what that road is without resisting it, without pushing against it, without getting angry because it isn't the way you want. There's going to be ups and downs and all arounds that are going to be constantly taking you off track. It's never going to go the way you want, but you can get to the place you want. So you can get to the place, but there's going to be a wide variety of unexpected things that will get in your way. And you just got to stay committed to the outcome without getting attached to the path, and really even without getting attached to what the outcome is, because oftentimes the wrong train takes you to the right station. So you have to be open to what gets created. So I like the way that Gandhi said it. He says you got to be the change that you want to see in the world. So you want to start to shift who you're being on the inside. You want to stop trying to convert other people to your point of view. That's going to help you with attachment. You have to recognize that the world is in a constant state of change. That the only constant is change. Nothing stays the same. So being attached to the way that it is absurd. It's ludicrous. It's never even the way that it was, because it's always changing. And the ability to release attachments is critical. And it's a master skill if you want to be at peace, because it unlocks so many of your other amazing abilities. So here's what I would love for you to do, and then report if that feels good to you. I want you to release each of the people in your life. Release all the things in your life. Make peace with losing everything and everyone. In fact, make peace with your own death. Face your own death and make peace with the loss of this life. And watch what happens. Your freedom, your peace, your joy, your flow will just explode. It'll be amazing. My name is Matthew Ferry, author of Quiet Mind, Epic Life. Will you make sure and like this video? I mean, come on, you watch the whole darn thing through, okay? So that tells YouTube that this is a video that other people should watch. It also tells me that I'm on track, I'm doing good stuff. It makes a difference in the world, because if YouTube serves this video up to more people like you, then that's a good thing. So If you dig the things that I say, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you keep getting the videos. And then I encourage you to leave me a comment below. Feel free to ask me about anything that I talked about on this video. And then finally, consider joining us in our Spiritual Hooligan Facebook group. There's a whole bunch of people like us out there in the world, and we're all communing together in this group. I'll put the link below for you, okay? Thanks again for tuning in to this Daily Enlightenment.